Do you want to learn something? Well, you've come to the wrong show, because this is the after show. You might forget things. Welcome to I Don't Know About That After Show with Jim Jeffries. And welcome to the Patreon. What's wrong, Patreon? All right, that's the new theme song.
Did you record that?
Yeah, it was recorded.
Yeah,
we're recording.
Yeah, we're recording. So we got.
You can roll that in now.
We got a friend, a friend of the show.
We got a
coming
7 in the studio.
Ooh,
we've got a 7. Well, no, you know what?
8.
You're an 8.
Might be an 8 now.
You're an 8.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Tommy thinks he's really
Tommy
good looking.
Caprio is there. Tommy
Gorgeous
Caprio.
Tom.
Tommy Caprio, who was the line producer on the Jim Jeffries show and many other TV shows. What are you working on at the moment, Tommy?
I'm working on a show with Killer Mike in Atlanta, based
And
out of
his
Atlanta.
body.
And my body. working on my body too. I lost 30 pounds in the last
Tommy
8 weeks.
lost 30 pounds. He used to spell his name Tomih.
Yeah.
That's a callback to another show.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People will know.
Yeah, they'll know.
Because I have a theory, Tommy, that everybody with an H on the end of the name is fat. Right. So Sarah with an H is fat. Sarah, S-A-R-A,
Yeah.
thin. Hannah with an H is fat. Jonah's a fat. Noah's a fat.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have called him Tomo.
Well, I could be Thomas. There's an H in there. But
At the end.
end.
No, at the end.
At the end.
An H in the middle is only 3 pounds.
Yeah.
What is the show on the air now, Tommy?
Yes, but we're in local markets and on PBS, and we're slowly growing every month. So.
Yeah,
You know.
that's fun. With
So
Killer Mike.
I want to pitch a show to you. All right. Bay of Pigs. All right. We've been talking about it on the other podcast. I'm sure I'm getting hate mail that doesn't even exist right now.
Well, not if you don't say what everyone, what you're thinking. Totally. Work
I think
around
the
it.
show,
We were pretty clear.
I think the show writes itself.
Okay.
It's like Love Island or any of the islands where good-looking people come, but they're not good-looking people. And then we go to the Caribbean. Where is it? The Caribbean?
Yeah.
No. It's like a toxic waste dump.
It's the Bahamas. I think
No,
it's
the
the Bahamas.
The Bahamas where all the pigs are. So we can work under the guise that it is a bay of pigs.
Okay.
Right? And then...
Wait. Are you going by Firefest? There's a lot of pigs in Bahamas?
There's an island.
There's an island where influencers go.
Where influencers go, where pigs just wander around and they're in the water.
And they think it's really cool, but then you're like, okay, those pigs are just walking around in the water, just shitting if you get off the boat, you're just
but it
into
is beautiful,
pig
clean water. Well, from what I've seen, but there's an island with pigs, wild pigs everywhere, but they're meant to be friendly and you can feed them an
There
apple.
you go. Yeah, swimming pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you hold the show, Bay of Pigs. And then, let's have some people in there that shouldn't be wearing bikinis. Let's just say that.
Right, but that's all you give them. Like you pack for them, and it's like
you go. You come out to the island. It's a dating show. It's called Bay of Pigs because of the pigs. We don't let them know, and then they'll go, because no one thinks they're unattractive. And then they show up and they go, fucking hell, everyone's unattractive except for me.
I feel like it's gotta be people though that are like way too confident for what they have to deserve it. We don't want to just make fun of people for not being hot, but they have to think that they're really hot.
No, they've got to have an Instagram page where they think they're really hot.
And like in their interviews, they're like, yeah, man, I have no problem getting babes.
Right, they have no idea that everyone else is not a 7. They're all below 7, right?
Yeah.
I forgot that Tommy thought he's a 7. I classify myself as a 5. I've mentioned this on stage because as I said, because when people walk by me, nothing happens. That's how you know you're a 5. When people walk by, there's no shock, there's no horror, there's no excitement. I keep traffic moving. That's what my looks does.
Yeah, it was the Joe Coy episode, and so we all rated ourselves, and then we had the guy who was a redhead.
Yeah,
and that's when you told us that
the Ranger.
Oh, there's a Ranger, Ranger,
An Irish Ranger.
Yeah.
That was a great episode. So if you guys have not heard that, go to the Jim Jeffries podcast.
They can get rid of all the racism in the world, but redheads will still be suffering.
It'll persist.
It's like they're the whitest of the white. Stand-up comedians until the end of history can make fun of them. There's no problem.
Yeah.
These
They
pigs
have
are
no
adorable.
representation.
These pigs are adorable.
Of course they are. Yeah, that's why we're going to film there.
There's one picture though where they're feeding a pig a hot dog. I feel like that's kind of fucked up. But
maybe it's a
It
beef
might
hot
be
dog.
all beef.
Yeah.
I saw an influencer go there recently, and she kind of like demystified it because I think most people that go there, they do the editing of the pictures and it looks really beautiful. But she was showing like what it actually looks like, and she's like, This is trash.
Well, of
I
course.
should take my wife there because my wife loves pigs.
Oh yeah, you should.
That's how I got married.
Yeah, but
Bay of Pigs.
That's how I got married.
That's
She
Bay of
loves
Pigs?
pigs.
If I should be allowed to make Bay of Pigs because I myself am a pig. I lay on the couch all day doing nothing. If I have to be on TV, I starve myself. I'm a wreck.
Relatively smart compared to
Yeah,
humans.
I'm as smart as a 3-year-old, which is what they reckon pigs are.
And that's why you're allowed to create this show because you self-identify as a pig. It's not you condemning anybody
I
else.
just want to do a dating show for regular people. Let the press
Yeah.
determine if it's for ugly people. Like we're not going to take that on us. We'll be like,
No,
Right,
we're not going
saying-
to be mean.
we're doing a regular
We're not
person-
going to have ugly challenges where they try to out ugly people. There
just eat a
will
lot.
be a trough that they have to eat out of if they lose one of the dates. If they lose one of the dates, they got to be put in a pen.
right. How long
Right.
do we leave them there? Because if they stay long enough without enough food, some might slim into a 7.
We may have a round where they stand next to the actual pigs and you have to tell the difference, but we'll never say never say this person's a pig.
Right. We'll call this game a pig and lipstick.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we'll have like some good-looking people come in, and that round will be called Bay of Pigs Invasion.
No, we have people who are above normal. We don't want to say good looking and bad looking. We're just people who are above normal
Yeah.
and see
Why
if
can they have Beauty and the Geek, where they're obviously saying these people
Yeah.
are geeks, right? And they're not just geeks; they're not good-looking.
And instead of
Yeah.
fantasy suites, it's called Pigs in a Blanket.
Exactly. Pigs in a blanket. This show writes itself. How can you not sell this? If Bravo is listening, and I know you are,
Because they're a subscriber of the Patreon.
yeah, of course they are.
They paid the $20
most
one,
of the
too.
people
It's
who
nice.
watch Bravo are 5s and 4s and who want to be 7s and 8s.
Relax.
Right? No, because
I'm
they
just kidding, I'm a
admire
five.
they admire the life of 8s.
Yeah, we'll have an episode where 3 of them go on one date. We'll call it the spit roast. That's what we're gonna do.
Apparently, in the early days of Bachelor Pad, there was a challenge where people had to decide who they wanted to like make out with the least, and then they threw eggs at that person or something. I was like, I don't think you could do that anymore.
Well-
but this is going to be on HBO,
Well,
obviously.
Tommy came over to my house the other day, and I was stoned, and we were just watching TV, and we were talking about because I don't eat pork anymore, right? And occasionally I slip up, but I don't.
What was it? The McRib? Is that your thing?
I have a thing.
can't slip up
my
with the
my
McRib.
wife, I like a sausage egg McMuffin. I used to eat a bacon egg McMuffin, but what happened was my wife could see the bacon. Now I eat the sausage. She thinks it's a beef patty. It's all the pork I get.
Fuck cows.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, cows are dumb, pigs are smart. But the problem with the pig is, right, and I've tried to explain this to my vegan wife, but she doesn't seem to hear you, is
They're built.
they're just built to eat. They're like Tommy said, you slice them down the middle, you throw them on a fire. Off you go. Every bit of them is a bit, right? If you were to eat a human, there's no human fillet.
You can have pig's ears, pig's snout.
You can eat fucking
pig's feet.
every bit of them's ready to go.
The
Ready
rinds.
to go. They've got no natural predator, and they're a ball of. They've got natural predators. They've got a lot of predators. Is
We
what I'm
are
saying.
predators
They've
now,
got
yeah.
lots of predators. There's not an animal that walks by a pig and goes, "Oh, that one's intelligent." I'll leave that to. All you see is a big meatball.
He could have been a scientist.
There's no
pig was gonna
lion.
go to
There's no-
space.
if a lion showed up at the Bay of Pigs, the real one, the one with all the thing, it would lose its mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just going, these things can't run to save their fucking life.
Maybe there is a
I've
god.
been chasing gazelles
Yeah.
for fucking ever. They're a pain in the neck.
Right? Like,
They always-
why do I have to do cardio before I eat?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
They're always doing that little last minute move. Pigs don't cut. They just sprint.
Yeah.
They sprint and then they probably trip and then roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go right.
Everything that
Here's
squeals tastes pretty good.
I thought I heard a pig squeal. I'm not even kidding.
Things
they'd
that
be
roar
laughing.
will eat you. Things that squeal, they're ready to be eaten.
Well,
Luis, that's your cue to do your grito.
according to worldofvegan.com, it's not all paradise for the pigs on Pig Island.
No.
You can imagine.
What?
Yeah. It's weird that they'd write this article.
What'd they say?
They said some are slaughtered, and I was just like, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
they still get to walk around on beaches in beautiful water.
What
It's
are
still
they
better
eating?
than the
That's the
People
thing.
feed them apples and shit.
That's the thing, though, is that no one knows how they really got there. And some people think they're put there as a food source. And then someone was like, yeah, they just like eat debris, like food that's discarded from ships. I'm like, that can't be right.
There's not enough food.
There's freshwater sources on the islands they can drink there.
Right.
But probably they rely on people feeding them now that visit there. Because there's like all the pictures I've seen, there's tons of boats in the back. So people come on shore and they're feeding the wrong ship. But
And they're probably eating each other once they die.
Well, no, they
because
slaughter.
pigs will eat anything.
Apparently they slaughter them. I don't know why. I went
over with an ugly bird who ate my soul.
I feel like that's the ideal life for a pig, though. You're gonna die eventually. If you could live your life on a beach with hot girls coming in bikinis and giving you hot dogs.
I mean, I don't know. If
Oh,
that's
these
an ideal life.
pigs are living my life that I want.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was
If I
thinking.
could just wallow around in water and get fed a hot dog by a chick in a bikini who wanted to take photos with me,
They probably die of skin cancer.
And
It's
then,
like
then you get to bite one of them every now and again.
I
That would have been
I would
good.
think it'd be a shitty life for them actually, because the reason that they wallow in mud and stuff like this to cool off, it's like part of like a natural sunblock and stuff. A lot of these pigs are probably having some skin issues. I'd say.
Right.
They
They're all fighting for the same shade.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like they're
So you think they were introduced to the island? They weren't just.
Oh no, yeah, they're definitely introduced. They're not native there. And then what I think they're doing is they keep slaughtering them and then using them as food, and then they let the new crop come up and people feed them and they slaughter them.
It's
and
like
so on.
Hawaii, for example. Pigs aren't native there, right? But there's boar, and they love everything they eat has pig in it. So
There's a thing I learned about Hawaii. I did one of those things that the word
we're
for
learning.
they still call goats cows, right? The word for cow is used for goat in Hawaii because what happened was way back in the day there was a bloke who was like a Captain Cookie type bloke and one of those type of fellas who was there discovering places. And he told one of the tribe leaders, he said, when I come back, mate, I'm going to bring you some cows. And they're like, what? He goes, I'm telling you, cows. You can feed a family for fucking weeks, one of these animals. They're massive. All the bits of meat are good. They're fucking solid, the old cows, right? So he gets back on his boat and he has all the cows in there and a couple of goats in there as well. And all the cows get some type of mad cow disease or something and they die on the journey. All the cows are dead. So he just rocked up and they didn't have goats in Hawaii either. And he brought out a goat and went, cow.
Yeah,
And they're like, so they still call goats cows in Hawaii.
Good.
There you
I can
go.
imagine a goat being very tasty.
You
Oh,
milk-
no, you never
you
had
can
goat
milk-
meat? Yeah, you've never.
Oh, birria rule.
Goat milk is actually
Oh,
better.
really?
right?
Goat cheese, goat milk is much more
I mean,
digestible.
I do like goat
Better for you.
cheese and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess maybe because they seem so slim.
You've no, they're a tougher meat, but they're like a curry with goat. Ooh, lovely.
Ooh, it's
Is
good.
that wait? Mutton is what?
Mutton's old lamb.
Okay.
Mutton
Old
sounds
lamb?
bad.
Well, it's sheep.
Because when I went to
Lamb, a baby sheep.
Yeah.
when I went to India, there was a breakfast buffet at the hotel, and to have mutton there and just the strong smell that early in the morning wasn't.
I don't mind a bit
I
of
didn't
mutton,
want
but
that.
you're growing up in Australia. We eat lamb at the same level that you guys eat beef and chicken. And all. It's just it's a regular
It's
meat.
better there. The lamb hair sucks.
The lamb here sucks. I have it at restaurants, and I'm
I
like,
never had good lamb hair. And then when we were in Townsville,
yeah.
we had that lamb. That was the first. And then when I went to New Zealand too, I was like, oh, this is good.
What makes our lamb so bad?
Well, the best sheep in the world are Australia and New Zealand. I don't know why, but
Politics.
we have the best. We have the best sheep.
That's like trying to get
Or-
Mexican
or-
food
or-
anywhere
I didn't
else.
know if it was
other
like
than
tougher
Southern
or
most,
something.
California.
most sheep's wool that you have in jackets and stuff comes from Australia. At one stage, it was super high up in our economy. Like they used to have a saying that Australia rides on the back of a sheep or something like
In
that.
New Zealand, it's got to be a huge.
New
part of it.
Zealand, there's
Yeah.
more sheep there than there are people.
Yeah. Lots of shape.
They all do this because everyone does this joke about fucking shit. I've heard about 10 New Zealand comics do this gag, but they all do jokes about how New Zealanders fuck sheep, right? I've got tons of those. And then they go, yeah, we do fuck it, but then we sell it to you and you eat it. You know, they all do that, you know. But I'll tell you some sheep fucking jokes. You ready?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Pig, sheep. This is a real farm episode here.
This is some New Zealand jokes for you. Every Australian kid tells these on the regular. How does a New Zealander find sheep in long grass? Delightful. There was
Good.
the New Zealand fella, Australian bloke's walking along, and he sees a New Zealand fella fucking a sheep in a paddock, and he goes, "What are you doing, mate?" And he goes, "In Australia, we shear sheep, And he goes, I'm not sharing him with anyone.
Good. That's good.
You have to be able to do the accent for that joke to work.
Why do New Zealanders wear gumboots? Do you call them gumboots or wellies?
What's a gumboot?
Those
Like,
rubber
rain
boots.
boots?
like galoshes?
Galoshes. Why do New Zealanders wear galoshes?
Why?
To shove the sheep's legs in so they can fuck them.
Wait, what?
Because they put the two hind legs in the front of the boots.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So they can't run.
Hey, why don't you two act it out?
Want
So we
to
can-
imitate it?
Well, top wool producers, top wool exporters. Australia is number one.
Yeah.
It's a weird joke.
2.26 billion. Also, the top wool producing country is Australia, but New Zealand's the second most. They export the second most amount of wool at 350 million. But China and United States provide their own wool. It seems like, I guess. So, yeah.
Well, my wife started saying, because she's vegan, that she wouldn't wear wool because she read some article that had a picture of a sheep that had a nick in it and it was bleeding. And it's like, fucking hell, I take enough photos of haircuts. I'll find you a cut
I know.
here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll find you a cut here.
I cut my legs every time I shave.
I had
face, yeah.
cousins who owned sheep stations out where the movie The Dish was filmed in Parkes, New South Wales, which is one of the big sheep areas in New South Wales. My cousins own those farms. I spent my summers, holidays out on sheep stations, and I used to watch real fucking real men shearing sheep for 8 hours. And I used to have to put the wool out on the table and that type of stuff. And they'd get a sheep, they'd bloody shear the thing, they'd throw the sheep down the fucking chute. And I can tell you this for fucking sure, right? The ones with the wool on it were much more miserable than the sheared ones, right?
Yeah.
The ones that were sheared were all jumping around going, today's a good day.
Right,
I got
Yeah, it's got to be very restrictive to have
it's not
so
as
much.
hot in the Australian heat. So I fought with my wife on that one. You shear sheep. There's no fucking lose. And then she goes, but that's because we bred them that way. Well, my answer to that is we're here now. You know what I mean? Because if you don't shear a sheep, if you Google like New Zealand, a sheep that wasn't sheared, there was one that got lost in New Zealand for about 3 years, and he's about this big, just covered in wool, and he would have been this big in the thing, and he's just this matted down wool, just hanging out in the highlands of fucking.
Yeah, he's like
This
miserable.
that cunt wants to be sheared all day.
That's 15 sweaters.
He's like, it's all dreaded. It's all dreaded wool.
He looks like an old Russian grandmother.
Send that
About
to Louise.
Louise.
Gotta put that on there.
And what happened in Australia was we had these things called Ugg boots. And Ugg boots, the Australian companies, you'll see them in any fucking airport you go to in Australia. You'll see them in duty-free stores. Ugg boots cost you about $300 a pair, maybe more. They come in high heels, low heels, things with bows. And for a while,
Slippers, the whole
women lost their mind. They were never meant for outdoor wear. They were meant to be slippers that you wore at night. And the knee-high ones were meant for people who had outhouses and shit like that. And so no one wore those. So the epitome of a bogan, which is what you call Australian white trash, if you would do a sketch with an Australian fella walking through a fucking Tesco or a fucking Ralph's, he'd have his Ugg boots on, and that would be the height of this guy doesn't give a fuck, right?
Like trash.
That was the thing. And they used to cost, when I was a kid, we used to buy them at Kmart, fucking $15, and they were the slippers you wore
And
at
they
night.
were the Uggs brand.
I was one of the brand. There was Emu. There was a whole lot of them, right? They were like $15. Pamela Anderson, I think she wore them on the beach for one of her weddings in a bikini or something like that.
When she was on set for the for work, like in between takes.
In between takes, she would wear these Ugg boots. And then that became, hot chicks started wearing them with little skirts. And that was in America. And we in Australia, watching Americans wearing Ugg boots, hot girls wearing Ugg boots, we were like, what the fuck is going on over there?
I remember.
And then people would start saying, this is in the mid-90s, they'd go, they're paying $300 for them. And I remember seeing someone going, it's real sheepskin. We're fucking burning the shit in warehouses. We got too much of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got fucking tons of this crap just sitting around. Wow. And that was like, and now the Ugg range is still, I think Asian people lose their fucking mind for a pair of sheepskin boots.
When I was like in middle school, it became a huge thing where my school had to ban them because too many people were wearing them to school.
Yeah, the Uggs, man.
Proud to say I never had Uggs.
I'll get you a pair. I know. I got a few hookups back in Australia.
Australia
the slippers
produces
seem nice.
25% of the world's wool. New Zealand 11, so that's 36%.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, you get it covered. But anyway, to make your point, lamb's very nice in Australia. And whenever someone's saying I'm having a roast dinner in Australia, it means lamb. In Britain, it means beef. But in Australia, you get a leg of lamb just with the bone in. And you fucking roast that puppy. Yeah, it's good eating, leg of lamb. Fucking lovely.
Well, this Guardian article says that anyone advocating not shearing sheep should try keeping their cozy, insulated coat on all through the summer and then add another one on top each year.
Yeah. No. They need to be. And as my wife is right, we genetically built them this way, I believe. I don't know how they did that, but it's been that way for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And but we're here now.
They probably scraped themselves on rocks back in the day or something this year.
They also okay. So you know what? Okay, so in Australia we have the term dag. When you go, "Oh, you're a dag," you're daggy means nerdy, or he's a big dag. He dresses daggy.
Right.
That's a big term to call someone a dag. A dag is the chunk of shit that sticks to the end of the wool on their ass.
Like the dingleberry?
Yeah, the dingleberry of the sheep world, because there's all that wool there. There's always like a flap of turd that hangs off. And so you have to de-dag the sheep. And then there's a thing called sheep dip where they shove the sheep's ass in it and all that type of stuff so that this thing just sort of dissolves off like chlorine or whatever. So that's what the dag is. If you ever get called a dag by an Australian, you're being called a chunk of shit stuck to wool.
Throw hands.
No, it's not worth that. It's kind of a term of affection. It's not a nasty
Unless
one.
they call you a daggit, which that's the hurtful one.
Can't do that.
It's not as
American dag.
It's not as mean as jerk. You go, oh, you big dag. Oh, he's a dag, that fella. You know, it's not.
Like a
it's not.
cutesy.
Yeah, it's not super nasty.
Yeah, we did breed him to be this way, but they used to. They would initially they'd rub against like a rock or a tree or something like that. But yeah, you know, it's like you said.
All lovely merino wool, bloody lovely stuff. There's a we're in Goulburn. Yeah, Australia's got this thing where we like because we're not an old country. We don't have a lot of old architecture and stuff like that. So we make our own tourist attractions in different towns. We're the king of the big something. So in Goulburn, they have the big merino, which is a big sheep, and it's just a massive sheep as you enter. We have the big pineapple up in Queensland. We have the big banana near Coffs Harbour. We have the big prawn.
Wow.
You Google these, we have big everything.
Are they big actual real animals? Or are they
No. They're just statues we made.
Okay.
You can walk up into the big thing.
I was actually that idea pretty much came, like in New Jersey, we have Lucy the elephant, which is like in the late 1800s was like jumbo, they called it. And everyone started building these large animals. So you could walk into them and sightsee from different places. And this one's like 18 something. So I imagine that it's kind of the same concept. When
I think
it gives people a reason to go to these places.
America probably invented it, but it's always like a cafe.
And we visited one that was just in a park. It was the largest galosh, remember?
Yeah, we went in the last.
It was just a boot.
Yeah, we went in the largest boot. We got up to the top, and you have a view and some shitty down. But there's always like
that was a nursery rhyme.
You know your town sucks when it goes, "Welcome to blah blah blah." Home of the big blah blah blah.
So I take it you haven't been to the Big Banana.
The giant, the largest yarn.
The Big Banana was the original.
Mm-hmm.
The original near Coffs Harbour Big Banana. You can only walk through the Big Banana. It's a banana that way.
Is that why you're afraid of bananas?
Well, that place sells a lot of bananas. We'll tell you as you walk through the Big Banana, you'll learn the history of banana growing in Australia.
Okay.
No, it's a big deal. The Big Pineapple's not far from the Big Banana. There's a big rocking horse. If you get us up
a big smoothie,
get us up a list of all the big things in Australia. Someone.
Well, I got the list of the largest. These are some of the largest frying pan in the world.
Oh, nice! You guys.
That's in Iowa, Brandon, Iowa.
Isn't there a yarn ball somewhere out there too?
The largest garden gnomes. Largest ball of twine.
Where is that one?
We drove past that recently.
Cocker City, Kansas.
We were driving through, and there was like I remember saying there was a big ball. There was a big something on the way to Oklahoma that you wouldn't stop for.
That wasn't it. It was
I wanted to see it, and you wouldn't stop.
It was John Wayne's house that we were.
You wouldn't stop for John Wayne's house for
It was 15 miles each way.
We had the time.
15 miles.
I got the 7 biggest attractions in Australia.
Here we go.
So the first one's the big prawn in Ballina.
I don't know. I remember. I've seen the big prawn.
The big pineapple in Woombye.
Yeah.
Then there's the big potato in Robertson. Oh, that is a big potato. It just looks like a rock.
You guys love potatoes there too, right?
The big lobster in Kingston.
Oh, I didn't know about that. We don't have good lobster in Australia.
We have big lobsters here. We're in Kingston, huh?
Where's our big lobster?
Well, you guys
there's one in the Florida Keys that I've driven by a million times, and then there's There's a Maine lobster with the claws, and that's
The giant koala and Dad Swell's
Oh,
bridge.
right. I didn't know about the big koala.
Big avocado, the big axe,
Big banana.
The big banana.
the big beer can,
Everyone stole
big
Oh
bench,
shit! The big merino is hilarious.
oh,
Yeah.
the big bogan.
There used to be comedians. There used to be because where the Big Merino is in a place called Goulburn, which is the police training center, right? Where my brother goes and does weapons training, and so my brother's a police trainer as well. He moves there for about 1 month a year and does some training. Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a comedian. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you credit, but there's a comedian who did the joke about shouldn't it be like a big pig with a speed gun?
There was more than 7. I don't know
Oh,
why.
but
This is,
There's 150. The big bunch of bananas, not just a big
is this
banana.
Australia or America?
No, this is Australia.
Where's the
Big
koala?
bicycle, big cheese,
look up the
The
galosh.
big mango.
big chook.
Big rocking horse.
I've been to the Big Rocking Horse when I was a kid.
The
yeah, I
big
remember the
boxing croc.
I don't know that
The
one.
big knight, the big hammer, the big headphones.
The big Ned Kelly.
Well, there was one that was okay. So there was this show called Leyland Brothers, right?
Yep.
And it was one of the first travel shows, and it was Mick and Mal and their 2 wives, and this is long before Steve Irwin was ever thought of. These were just blokes in khaki shorts with their wives, and they had babies, and they travelled all over Australia, and they had Leyland Brothers World, and they had the small Ayers Rock, or Uluru as it's called now. So the rock in the middle of Australia, they made a smaller one that was just shopping mall size that you could walk around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we could get up, I always love introducing our people to Australian music that you may not have heard. Can someone get up for me the Leyland Brothers theme song? Because this is everything to me. This
Oh wow, this is your
All
childhood.
right, just have a little point.
Did you know there's
Here
a big
goes.
poo?
Travel all over the countryside. Us the Leylands, us the Leyland. Have a bit. You'll know. The Leyland Brothers. Leyland. Leyland.
Like
I found it. It's the golden gum boot. That's what you guys call
Wait,
them.
did you already say that there's a big Ugg boot?
I didn't know there was a big
There's a big
Ugg.
Ugg boot.
Probably. I mean,
The big
actually,
poo,
if you,
the
Yeah,
big
because
wine
Ugg was
bottle.
the brand, but Ugg boot was the name before that, and there was just a lot of, but Ugg that came after the Ugg boot.
Ugg is Australian, right?
Yeah. And Emu is.
It was a gum boot. That's what you guys call them down there. And there's a frog crawling up the side of it. And it's in Tully.
There's a-
there it is. Everyone, you ready to go? This is
A family vacation in a verbal
this
means
is-
leaving
I
love
all the
this song.
crap
this is
behind.
this is Telly from the
Maybe it's
80s
supposed to be
in
ad-free.
Australia.
It's supposed to be
big
ad-free.
boxing
This is you get
Travel all over the countryside. Ask the Leylands, travel all
I
over
just
the
showed nipples there.
countryside. Ask the Leyland brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see.
Ask the Leylands, ask the
No
Leylands,
matter whatever that happens to be.
ask the Leyland brothers.
Come on, begin it and
Join in the fun, travel all over Australia. I thought they had a real truck. They're just driving in a Volkswagen. People move around Australia.
Right.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the 2 wives, they were something else. They were
Yeah,
all
I
right.
just saw those 2 birds.
Did you know that the big Captain Cook, he's doing like a Nazi salute?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
he conquered, man.
Mm.
So
canceled.
So if you ever want to go to Australia, there's lots of big things to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is
That's
this
hysterical.
town where there's gum boot or rain boot, whatever, is in Tully, North Queensland. Every year, Tully holds a Golden Gumboot Festival. Like
That would-
they
that
do
would-
a whole festival around
There
it.
would be gumboot throwing,
Yeah.
where you have to get a lot of distance on your gumboot. Bloody hard to throw one of those things.
Well,
With
they have
all the-
little loops on them. So
yeah, you'd have to twirl it around. There'd be a technique. There'd
Yeah,
be a
almost
technique.
it'd be like
wouldn't
throwing a
wanna
hammer
go,
and
you wouldn't want to go in there half-assed and not how to throw a gumboot. You'd want to do it properly. I'll tell you something about gumboots, or Wellingtons as they call them in Britain. They call them wellies, right?
Wellies.
Yeah, wellies. When you go to the Glastonbury Festival, which I performed at maybe 6 times, biggest musical festival in Europe, right? It's the Coachella of Britain, right? But the thing about it, it's not as filled with douches because they don't have the good weather. So everyone's sort of wearing ponchos and walking around in mud. That's sort of like, I've been in knee-high mud. I was once with Jason John Whitehead and he was on mushrooms and we were watching James Brown on the main stage because they have a kitsch act in the afternoon. They have a kitsch act where it's like, so they'll have like Shirley Bassey. I've seen Neil Diamond there. I've seen Tom Jones. They have a Dolly Parton one year. You know, they have an act of that ilk that sort of does the 4 till 6 spot, and everyone shows up for a bit of kitsch, and then it's like whatever the biggest bands are, you know. Anyway, so we're watching James Brown. This is about 2 years before James Brown died, right? And we're watching him. And Whitehead, we were on ecstasy, and we were on mushrooms, we were on everything. And he said, and I was on so many mushrooms, and he turned to me and went, Jim, I don't feel, and then he just fainted, and he fainted into this mud. I was knee deep, and the mud, and I was so high, the mud engulfed him. Like I'm on mushrooms and just, and he was underneath the mud, and I was like, oh no, he's dead, right? And there was just other people on mushrooms around me like, hey man, your friend doesn't look real good. And I'm like, yeah. And I had to do the old fashioned, I pulled him out of the mud and slapped his face like, God damn it, come back.
Come back.
Yeah, and he sort of woke up and went, oh, that wasn't good. And we sort of stumbled down and said, you need to sit down for a bit.
Yeah.
I remember,
Happier than a pig in shit.
I was on mushrooms at Glastonbury, and I fell asleep in a portaloo for 6 hours. I've been going for days.
People just knocking on the door.
Yeah, we had our own portaloos at the back of the stage, and everything, and I went in there to have a shit. I still had shit around my ass when I came to.
Oh God.
And I wonder,
wonderful.
with hemorrhoids, I say, don't sit on the toilet for too long. That might have been the origin story of my hemorrhoids.
Is that true? You're not supposed to.
You're not meant to sit for too long, though. You're meant to get in and get your business out because it makes your asshole seem to fall out a bit.
Tushy.com, everybody.
Yeah, but
Tushy.com/Jim.
I had another bit where I was sitting on a stump and I was in the eating area. And
the other one's porn.
And I was sitting there for a while, just staring at everybody. I was on drugs. I can't remember what drugs I was on. I was at Glastonbury, just staring, looking around. And this girl comes out of she was serving food in one of the trucks. You know, I was in the truck area, just sitting on a stump. I was, and she came out and she went, "Are you okay?" And I said, and I was like, all a bit bemused to why I was just sitting there and I wasn't bothering anybody. And I said, I'm fine, thank you. Why do you ask? And she goes, you've been sitting here for 4 hours.
I'm relaxing.
And I was like, oh, I should get on with my day. Thank you.
I have as many
I
appointments.
have bands to see. Anyway, the reason I brought it up is because, every 1 in 3 years it's not raining, but the rest of the time it's raining, everyone's in mud. And welly boots, everyone's wearing gum boots or rain boots or whatever. That's what you buy to wear them. They're selling them there, and they cost you about 20 quid for a pair or 40 quid for a pair. Anyway, so everyone's wearing them. By the time you've taken that much ecstasy and you've seen enough girls in mini skirts wearing Wellington boots with mud all over them, you do get a small fetish for them. Every now and again when I see a girl in Wellington boots, I'm like, oh yeah, bit of fun, her.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got a fondness for the welly.
You want to go sit on a stump with me?
Yeah, I guess if you hang around anything long enough, you can find a fetish for it, which could take us right back full circle to Bay of Pigs. After a while, if we're working on that island and we're there long enough.
Hey, these pigs ain't so bad.
Are fives
Oh,
and
it's
sixes.
like if you go to prison,
Yeah,
all
I
of a
was just
sudden
gonna
the
say
drag
that.
queen, you're like, oh, she's not bad. I'll tell you another story. So we were sitting around a fire. I imagine those days it was all ecstasy and mushrooms, right? So I think I was on mushrooms, but I was standing there and I was dating a girl at the time I hadn't been seeing for very long, but she came to the festival with me. I think we had only seen each other for a few months in total. Anyway, so there was a comedian there. I won't name who she is, but I don't get along with her to this day. But she, bloody one of these people who just every story she has to top, and she's got nothing to say, and she's always rambling on about bullshit, and she's just a person who annoys the fuck out of me, right? We've all got them in our lives. So Glenn Wool, my friend Glenn Wool, sitting out there, and a few other people. I only mentioned Glenn because he's about to say the next bit of the story. But so we're all out there, and I turn to the girl. I'm hearing this woman, she's bloody rabbiting on about complete and utter rubbish. And I said to the guy, let's go to bed. Yeah, it's 3 a.m, 4 a.m. So I go into my bed and I zip up like that. And then I go, fucking hell, I ate that woman.
Are you a tent?
I'm in a tent.
Okay,
I'm in a tent. I go in my tent and I zip it up and I go, fucking hell, that woman. Bloody hell, she fucking rabbits on. She talks utter fucking rubbish. All of her stories are complete and utter bullshit like this, right? And then they're all sitting in the fire and Glenn goes, Hey, Jim, the tent's just a thin bit of nylon. You can all hear you perfectly.
Wait, what were you thinking?
To all of our surprise,
so
the tent
high.
is not soundproof.
I was so high, I thought once I put the zipper on, I was like, and now I'm in my cocoon of silence. I've been waiting to say this all night.
And you said it to yourself.
No, I was with the girl. I was with the girl, but I just let it rip, and I was 10 meters away. I was basically just sitting next to him.
It would have been funnier if he was alone. I fucking hate that woman.
That
Jim,
sounds like
Jim.
those festivals sound like fun. I don't know that I can do them still at my age, but
No,
I used to
can't-
go to
I
them
can't
all
even
the
sleep in
time.
a tent anymore.
I know,
On the
my
ground.
back would hurt. I'd be
No, you
fucked.
get it. We did it with a big blow up mattress and stuff like that. You'd be performing. Like one time I had to perform and they're like, you're headlining the Saturday. And my career was sort of on the uptick at that stage. And I was like, fucking hell, headline. That means like 5,000-6,000 people. That was also the year that fucking Paul McCartney was playing. I think he's playing it this year as well.
Oh, no.
But this is Paul McCartney like 15 years ago when he could still sing pretty good, and fucking no one showed up for my tent because everyone was off seeing Paul McCartney just for whatever kitsch reasons. It's a Beatle, And there was like 30 people showed up to my tent. And I just looked at him and I was like, if you leave, I get to leave. Can you please? And they were just coming down off drugs. And all I could hear was like half a mile away in a valley was nah. Nah, 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 nah. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be fucking on drugs singing nah, 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 nah with all the rest of the people.
I like how you've called Paul McCartney and James Brown kitsch. Like there's
No, because everything else is like if you go to everything else is the band of the moment.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but still, like kitsch kind of it
Yeah,
makes it sound like
but we're talking about 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds. We're not talking about us. I don't think they're kitschy. I think they're legends. But for them, it was good because people went out. But then they had some of them. Like one year was what's his name, Cohen.
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen, and he doesn't put on a great show. Just a man who's sort of mumbling,
Not moving around a lot.
No, that's kitschy.
Yeah, and you're like, what are you? But I tell you, I was standing in a field and I was watching Neil Diamond, and Neil Diamond did. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. Boom, and then he did the next song was. Red, red wine, stay close to me. The young bloke next to me yells out, play one of your own songs. There was too much explaining to do. I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
No, but the whole camping aspect of it, like I used to go to Jazz Fest. You can't camp there, but that's another one of those things. And you have to go to these different tents. There's the comedy tent, and there's the.
No, he doesn't do the Jeff Buckley version. He does.
No, he did it first.
Oh no, it's his song. It's his song.
Yeah, and then Jeff Buckley.
But there's very few times in history when someone does a cover and then it's their song. You're like, get the fuck out. It's like Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. It's a Dolly Parton song, but once Whitney did it, you got to go, it's Whitney's song now.
Yeah.
Apparently, John Fogerty's pissed that Tina Turner gets all the credit for Proud Mary.
Yeah.
He says songs like, I did the song.
Yeah, but she
There's
does
a
the
lot
best
of those
one.
you probably don't even realize, like tons of them.
Well, when Neil Diamond did Now I'm a Believer or whatever, he wasn't even an artist at that stage. He worked literally in a songwriting factory where they, had 10 songwriters here to turn out hits.
Wow.
And that's what he did. And he wrote a whole heap of songs for other people. And that was one of the bigger hits that he wrote for the Monkees. And so that's why he performs it. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Jack, you got a segment?
I do, but I need my computer.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. Why can't you use your computer?
Come on, Jack.
You can
People
use
are
it.
waiting. This is just a pay show.
Travel over the countryside, us the Leyland brothers. Come on, I think, and join in the fun. Travel over Australia. That was Sunday afternoons. We'd have
I
to
know
watch
like a
that.
little baby. There was two little kids.
Yeah, they
and
just
then
had young kids, and they would sort of go out and go, oh, look at this snake. It was before Steve Irwin, Mick and Mal. Good telly.
Was it like considered a public television at the time?
We only had 4 channels. So everything was 4 channels. We had 4 fucking TV channels right up until I was 20-something.
That's pretty crazy because that's not.
And I still fit it in 7 hours a day. Like, that shows you how much I love TV. I've seen every Ma and Pa Kettle, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, because they would show, in the middle of the day, they would show old movies. And I think those TNT networks, the classics and all that sort of stuff, Now no one's watching him. Just old people are watching him. But I'm happy that I've seen I've seen every Lewis and Martin film, all the Jerry Lewis type of thing. I was talking to Amos about this the other day about, he was talking about legacy, and I said, legacy. When I die, and people have asked me in interviews, they go, how do you want to be remembered? I don't need to be remembered by fucking any of you. Just me two boys, just me two sons have to remember me, because the reality is, after another generation, no one fucking remembers you. No one in this room can tell me a Phyllis Diller joke. Not fucking one. A George Burns joke. These people were legends. They were even like in 20 years, no one's going to remember. Who was that one that I can't remember right now who died?
Betty White.
No, the old lady who...
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers. No one's going to remember Joan Rivers. They're definitely not going to remember me. I even reckon in 30 years' time, Richard Pryor, people go on about like comedy sycophants who fucking, or these people are, you're Lenny Bruce. Have you ever fucking sat down and listened to one of those albums? Oh, it's hard work. Yeah. Now, it might have been good in its day, but a bloke bitching in the newspaper about being, I appreciate what he did, and that he was the first guy to sort of do all that stuff, and I was on the History of Comedy talking about these things. But in the end, you shouldn't worry about your legacy and if you'll be remembered, because you fucking won't. We're only 30 years away from people not remembering Elvis. They'll remember him in a certain there was this guy, but his music won't really. The Beatles will last longer because the songs were so good and they wrote the songs and people will keep performing.
And they're repurposed a lot. Yeah.
You're not going to get anyone fucking doing a cover of Hunker Hunker Burnin' Love.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Well, he pretty much did his whole life was covered.
But he had all the songs written for him, that sort of stuff. But people won't remember Elvis. No. There'll be some nerdy bloke.
As long as there's Memphis, there'll be Elvis.
Yeah, you'll still remember him in the sense that there was this guy who wore outrageous costumes and sort of did some kung fu fightings and he had a nice voice or whatever, but there's not going to be Elvis fans. It'll be a bit of kitsch. But it won't be Elvis fans in 30 years.
I wouldn't even want to be remembered after I was dead, because then when people talk shit about you, you can't defend yourself.
Well, I just watched a documentary about the bloke called Scotty whatever, who was this guy who came out of World War II. He died a couple of years ago in his 90s. And he came out of World War II. And that TV show Hollywood that's on Netflix, which I haven't seen, about the gas station, it's all based on this guy's life. This guy owned a gas station up on Sunset. And he just had a couple of caravans out the back, and it was all like Cary Grant and Rock Hudson and all these guys who were gay, but they were never like,
they were macho on screen, so they could never let anyone know.
But they'd go, and for $20 you could get a blowjob, or you could suck someone's dick or something like that. This guy and he goes like, I used to turn tricks for people, and then he reckons he had sex with bloody Katharine Hepburn and all these type of. He goes through all the list. He tells everything.
He plays like the McDermott part in that. I don't know if you've seen it.
The McDermott's based on this guy.
Yeah.
Based on this guy.
He owned the gas station, but he was charismatic.
He owned the gas station.
Take old ladies for a ride and,
Yeah. And so he has all these different people that would come in and check. But then he's like, yeah, Cole Porter. What a great guy. Cole Porter used to come in and see us all the time. One time he just requested 15 different men because he wanted to see if he could suck off 15 men and make them all blow. He was a fun guy. Fucking a Cole Porter, fucking bukkake was all he was after. It's like most of them didn't even want to have their dick sucked. They just wanted to suck a dick.
That reminds me of like Japanese game shows now, though. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on here, but there was one that I saw where a straight guy thought he was going into a box to get jerked off by a girl, and he was supposed to see how long he could last. And then they bring a guy, and he's like, I don't want to do this.
They close the door, and then they got like, this is the type of shit that we talk about.
I used to do a podcast back in the day, and we used to talk about the Glory Hole Challenge, which I still want to do. So you have 3 men. So me, you, and Forrest could do it, right? 3 men, 3 holes,
and we have a box here.
3 holes,
Jack. 2
hot women and one man. It's the Glory Hole Challenge. You got to go in there and you just got to hope for the best, and then you find it afterwards.
All right, we'll set it up.
I can never get it off the air. And here's me wanting to get back on network TV.
Yeah, that'll be after Bay of Pigs. After Bay of Pigs, it will be guess that hole.
Mystery Glory Hole.
Tonight's lineup on NBC is Glory Hole Challenge and Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, you're a regular. Yeah, you're just cranking them out.
Jack just brought a young lady into the room.
Yeah, she's our guest.
Oh, it's a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes all the difference.
We're not going to do Jack's segment.
Well,
now.
normally we have people on. Well, can we do Jack's segment quickly? We got the
No.
time. We
No,
don't
we
have the
don't
time.
have
Ah, well.
Next Patreon.
Hey, Jack, what was it? What was it?
No, next Patreon. Well, yeah, I want to tease it for the next Patreon.
Yeah, tease it. That is.
I'm going to go through the Apple charts and see what podcasts are beating us.
Also, we get to stick
all
things
of
in
them.
Jack's holes.
But they're hilarious.
Wait,
We're
wait,
going
wait.
country by country.
You mean by country by country?
Yeah, they're
So,
hilarious.
Yeah.
We do very well in Australia.
That's good.
Not as well as you think.
We're no. Oh, it depends
We
on
should be
the.
doing better.
No. It depends on the day. If it comes out release day, we get up to like 18 in Australia.
It's a short list. Yeah.
We're sitting there. We're number
no one's podcast is
We're
doing
number
well, except for-
300 and something in the world for all podcasts, and we've been as high as 200 for all podcasts on Earth. But it's a tough business.
You're probably in the top 100, top 1% at that. There's,
Oh, yeah,
there's
we're-
everyone and
Oh,
their mother has a podcast.
we're-
Jack Kelly and I have a podcast.
No,
We're-
we're a top 1% podcast.
Yeah.
We're in the top
Yeah,
1%.
top half a percent.
Yeah, top half a percent.
Hey,
Yeah.
save it for the podcast.
All right.
All right. Well, this was fun, guys. I
Thanks for
appreciate
coming,
it. Thanks
Tommy.
for having me.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks for Tommy. Tommy,
You
what's
guys are actually shooting a regular
What-
The
show.
what-
8, formerly known as 7.
just before we go, what budget do I need to get Bay Pigs off the ground? And can you facilitate this?
Do you really need a dollar figure right now off the top of my head? It depends on if we're going to go network with it. We can ask for a lot more. If it's something like Comedy Central, you can
I
get
just
like
think
nothing.
we make it, put it on YouTube, and watch the ratings come in.
Yeah, and we just sell ad spots.
We just got to pay for plane tickets. We're good.
I think it's
I think we could get some locals.
HBO Max
could just- we
show.
could just-
They did Fuckboy Island.
We could just
do
troll
Bay
the
of Pigs.
beach for Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just tell them we want like a square mile to just have all of our challenges.
Great. Can't wait to see it, guys.
All right. Well, this was probably where, because I was on, you're probably going to get a lot more.
Yes,
subscribers
definitely.
for this.
Yep.
Yeah, and the eliminations rounds will be called luau's because they always cook a pig.
Mm.
Come to the luau. You didn't get laid. You're not,
Yeah, come to the loud. You're not getting paid.
you didn't get laid. You're on the spit roast.
Yep.